The recent Russia-Ukraine conflict has demonstrated the fragility of global stability and the potential for a small mistake to lead to a catastrophic consequence. With tensions high between major nuclear powers, any miscalculation could quickly escalate into a full-scale nuclear war. The attack on Kremlin, which narrowly missed Russian President Vladimir Putin, has raised the stakes even further and highlighted the very real threat that we face. The impact of nuclear war would be catastrophic and long-lasting, affecting both environment and humanity. Let's take a closer look at potential destructions and aftermath of a nuclear war. A nuclear war would cause widespread and long-lasting environmental devastation. The massive release of smoke and soot from burning cities would rise into upper atmosphere, blocking sunlight and causing a significant drop in global temperatures. This nuclear winter could persist for years, disrupting agriculture, causing widespread crop failures and leading to global food shortages. Nuclear explosions would also release large amount of nitrogen oxides, which can deplete the ozone layer, allowing more harmful ultraviolet radiation to reach the Earth's surface. This increased radiation would harm ecosystems, reduce crop yields, and increase the risk of skin cancer and other health issues. Additionally, the radioactive fallout from nuclear explosions would contaminate water, soil, and air, leading to long-term ecological damage. Bioaccumulation of radioactive isotopes in the food chain would affect both humans and animals, causing genetic mutations, reproductive issues, and an increased risk of cancer. The immediate and long-term impacts of nuclear explosions would cause untold human suffering. The blast, heat, and radiation from nuclear explosions would cause millions of immediate casualties. Many would die instantly, while others would suffer from severe burns, crushed or ruptured organs, and radiation sickness. Radiation exposure would lead to an increased risk of cancer, birth defects, and other health issues for those who survived the initial blasts. Mental health problems such as PTSD, anxiety, and depression would also be widespread among survivors due to the traumatic nature of the events. The destruction of infrastructure and the sheer scale of casualties would overwhelm the healthcare system, leaving many without access to medical care or necessary supplies, exacerbating the death toll and human suffering. A nuclear war would have far-reaching consequences for the global community. The widespread destruction of cities and infrastructure would force millions of people to flee their homes, leading to massive displacement and refugee crisis. The global community would struggle to provide adequate aid and resources to those affected. The devastation of major economic centers, combined with collapses of global trade and financial systems, would lead to a worldwide economic depression. The recovery from such collapse would be slow and painful, with lasting effects on global poverty and development. The collapse of infrastructure and government system would lead to breakdown of social order, resulting in increased crime, violence, and lawlessness. Political instability, both within affected countries and initially, would further complicate efforts to rebuild and recover. Trust between nations would severely damaged, making it difficult to work together to address the consequence of the conflict. The risk of further conflicts as nations struggle to secure resources and rebuild would remain high. The potential destructions and aftermath of a nuclear war are too great to even contemplate. The use of nuclear weapons would have catastrophic consequences, not just for those directly involved in the conflict, but for the entire planet. The devastation caused by the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945 was immense, and today's nuclear weapons are even more powerful, making the potential consequences of a nuclear war even more devastating. In the face of recent Russia-Ukraine conflict, it is imperative that the world leaders take steps to avoid the risk of nuclear war. Any miscalculations could quickly escalate into a full-scale nuclear war with catastrophic consequences. To avoid this, leaders must engage in dialogue, diplomacy, and de-escalation efforts to reduce the tensions to resolve conflict peacefully. It is essential that all parties involved prioritize the safety and security of their citizens and the world as a whole above any individual interest or goals. Ultimately, the only way to prevent devastation of a nuclear war is to prevent one from ever happening in the first place. Thanks for watching the video, and remember to stay informed and engaged, and keep watching Universal Times.